Two, one. Hey everybody, this is Victor. I am here with Munya. This is part 3, and this is another update interview, another case study interview. Munya is a student of mine, and we're going to be talking about how Munya put a deal under contract and how he ended up closing it and started on the renovations. This is the 34K net profit flip we've been talking about quite a bit. How are you doing?
Good, Victor. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, I mean, you know the drill. We've we've done a couple of these. Basically, what I wanted to do on this one is just give an update. We did one of these videos when you got the deal under contract, and we're excited and getting going. And then now the deal closed. I think this week or last week. I can't remember, but I know it closed recently. So I just want to get an update, get a sense of your thoughts, what you learned, and kind of go from there.
Yeah. From previous interviews, we found the property in mid-November.
Right.
We had it under contract within 2 days of finding it, but it was a probate property, and so we finally closed on it this last Tuesday.
It's
so
February now,
really,
for folks watching the future. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's okay. Yeah, so it took 3 months to finally close, believe it or not. So yeah, the whole probate process, it really dragged out, and but finally we got it going, and demo has started as of this week.
No, that's awesome. So what are some of the things? I know like the typical deal doesn't take that long to close. Like typically, I don't know, like 2 weeks, a month maybe. This one took like 3 months. So did you learn any lessons in like that waiting time and down period, or what are some of your thoughts there?
Well, I learned the probate process. So
yeah,
now I know what to expect. I hope that if I ever have another probate property, it doesn't drag out as long as this one. But you have to be patient when it comes to some of these closings. Properties are going to come from all different types of sources. And if you happen to come across a probate property, then you should expect to wait a little bit. I learned that you have to keep following up. I kept trying to call every 1 to 2 weeks just to kind of find out where we were at. You want to just keep pushing for progress to keep going. Because if you're not on top of that, then everybody else down the line is just going to continue to drag their feet about it. So
yes,
I continued to follow up as much as I could without trying to sound like I was bugging people, but you have to do that to get things going. Yeah.
I love those 2 points. So the first point, definitely patience is a big part of it, because this takes time. Some people are, oh, the deal didn't close the week it should have, so they get frustrated, or, it takes time with real estate, especially. So just having that patience is huge. Just having confidence, like, yes, it'll close eventually, but just having that patience is just so big. I know some other students of mine had the same thing, where they got a deal under contract and it took a couple months to close. And especially for a beginner, it's kind of like, kind of get nervous. Like, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And that's a part of the game. So I love that. And I also because I know you were on top of it. You did a great job with follow-up, and you struck the correct balance where it wasn't pestering, but it wasn't like the laissez-faire, whatever happens, but it's like right in the middle, which was awesome. The great balance, where it was like, hey, making sure nobody's forgotten about you. Like everyone's still on top of the deal. It's still going to happen. Everyone's moving along, pushing in the right direction. So I really like that. You've done a great job on follow-up. So I think that's a great lesson as well.
Yeah, it definitely was. Learning the whole process that, once a deal comes along, it's not just going to keep going and rolling. I did learn that you're going to have these periods where everything just kind of gets quiet for a little bit. And I can see how seasoned investors would take that slow opportunity to get into another deal. So yeah. I kind of get where and how they manage multiple deals at a time, because in between this deal, there have been these periods and gaps where just nothing is happening. So I used that time to continue studying, clearing charges, I continued to communicate with people, and I continued to look for more deals. So, you know, it was just to make sure that I'm not just twiddling my thumbs and I'm not losing everything I've learned.
Mhm.
Try to keep myself sharp until the next phase or the next step when everything starts happening again, which for us was this week when we finally closed and we'll finally started.
Yeah. Do you remember the like the metaphor, like the visual you used? Do you remember when we talked about this, like kind of what it felt like when it came to real estate?
Which part?
Do you remember? Oh, yeah, we talked about. I think this was last week, where it was like there's like a flurry of activity, like a ton of stuff, and then like
Oh yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
Do you
yep,
remember that?
yep,
I'd love if you can like explain
yep,
that,
yep. You're gonna
explain
have
your
all this
thoughts on
activity going on because when I found the deal, I was running around for like 2 days trying to get it under contract, make sure that I get it,
it.
and then once I got it secured, everything just died. So yeah, it definitely it's definitely going to happen. There are these cycles, and
Mhm.
I went through a cycle of just nothing happening.
Mhm.
I kept calling, and then right when we were about to close, you get all the HUD statement with the closing statements and everything. Now you got that flurry of activity again, closing table, flurry of activity, then you close. So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely you're going to have those periods of just absolute nothing happening. And I guess it's going to happen if you're working one deal at a time. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's to be expected. It's normal. So don't get worried when it happens.
Hmm. No, I think that's spot on. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what it's like. Like okay, there's a ton of stuff to do this next couple of days, and like then you hurry up and wait for 2 weeks, or I guess in our case 3 months. In your case, 3 months, and there's like okay, now there's a ton to do. But in those interim periods, it's just kind of slow and nothing much going on, which is a good lesson because I know we talked about this in depth, and that's why I wanted to share it. Where some people they're like, oh, how do you flip 20 deals a year or 30 deals a year, or how do you do that much volume? Well, that's what it is. Like, okay, now this property has a ton of stuff, that one's good. Okay, now another one comes up, there's a ton of stuff, but it's never like all at once, a huge flurry of activity. It kind of gets spaced out, just naturally. So it's hopefully a good lesson for you. Like now you can see how you can hit six figures. If 6 figures is 3-4 flips a year, it's not just doing a couple more of these and you're pretty much there. It's not like it's that much more work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do see how it can be scaled during those gaps of non-activity on one deal. You can definitely jump onto another and get that one going.
Hmm.
So I definitely see that there is a blueprint, there is a method to getting your six figures in a year, flipping 3 or 4 houses. It's definitely doable as long as you have consistency in, of course, finding of the deals and having your team ready on standby to go. You can definitely make six figures doing this on 3 or 4 flips a
Hmm.
year. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm glad you're starting to see that. Like it's now becoming more realistic, now more possible. Before it's like it's a dream. Now it's like, oh shoot, I just do this step and this step and this step, and I'm there. I'll be hitting six figures.
Yeah, initially when I was thinking about it, I didn't know that there were going to be these gaps. So I kept thinking to myself, like, how am I going to be able to scale this if I get drawn into one project and then another project comes on? Am I going to be spreading myself thin, trying to go between projects, making sure that everything is going along and moving along, checking up on progress? But I've definitely learned from this one that there are going to be gaps here and there. So you can definitely fill those gaps by transitioning to another project, and you won't have to kind of spread yourself thin. So
Hmm.
it's definitely doable. It's definitely achievable. There is a blueprint for this, and I'm starting to see it.
Awesome. Well, very cool. So why should someone listening now take action?
Oh wow, um, I am very new to this. This is my first deal, and I have been able to get this far only because I had a good mentor. I had somebody assisting me through the way. I would not have been able to make this amount of progress if I was doing this on my own. Um, I was able to get the information. I was able to get the contracts. I was able to understand the process. I was able to understand how the funding is done. All of that was because I had a mentor. You can go around and try to look for stuff for yourself, and you'll find it. it's just going to take you a lot longer to do that. And I think that anybody who's trying to get into this is trying to get into this as quickly as possible. They're trying to make as much progress as quickly as possible. They're trying to be successful as quickly as possible. And what better way to do that than to align yourself with somebody who's been doing it successfully and consistently. Align yourself with somebody like that and learn from them by talking to them, interacting with them, and observing, and even collaborating on deals together. That is the best way to do it. So, you know, I couldn't be and wouldn't be where I am right now had I not had you for a mentor. So I am very grateful for that.
Well, there you go, Ken. That's really, really nice words. I couldn't have asked for a better like recommendation or testimonial. So I appreciate it. And I'm still excited for you to hit 6 figures. You know, get this first deal done, get your first check, you know, 6 figures is right. It's closer than you think. So that's fantastic. I do appreciate you taking the time. I just want to do a quick, you know, kind of update case study video here, just so people know you're still in the game, you're still live, you're still doing awesome. Also give folks some hope and motivation, like, whoa, Munya's out there doing it. He was a beginner. He's made it happen. I think I can do this too. So just want to share your story. Any final thoughts as we wrap up here?
You know, I have a lot of my friends starting to ask me questions about real estate. And like I said, this is still my first deal. So it's not like I'm an expert. But when you start to get people looking at you, asking you questions about it, it really feels good to be able to actually give out information that, you know, this is correct information because I got this from my mentor. Even in these groups that I'm in, I see a lot of people asking, how do I get into real estate? I heard that, you know, you have to have money to do this. I'm able to contribute to the conversation because I know through experience that there are ways to navigate around some of these things if you have the right people, the right resources, and a good mentor around you. So I'm starting to see that I have friends who are starting to get interested, and I tell them that, you know, I got this great mentor and he's great. And so I think there are going to be some people who are going to be joining, to be honest. So,
well, fantastic. Yeah, more the merrier. And you'll find that out. It's not just, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And I mean, some of them are interested in even just being like an investor in terms of, you know, a financial investor and stuff like that. So I've been talking to people, and I can see that there is interest that's starting to build. So
awesome, dude, that's huge. That'll get more, like once you get your first deal, and once you do more deals, like you'll see that momentum build up for sure. And then it's suddenly like, whoa, okay, you know, yeah, and it becomes easier. Your first one's your hardest for sure. Oh, and that was the other thing. I don't know if we mentioned it on the other videos, but if I'm not mistaken, like you're $0 into this deal. Like you didn't put up any of the money and you're still able to get the deal done.
That is absolutely true. So I am living testament that you can get into real estate investing with absolutely zero money in it. So when I see people in some of these groups saying some of the things they say, I can add value to the conversation now because I can give my own personal experience. And you get people starting to ask like, oh, how did you do it? Can I DM you a few questions and stuff like that? But yes, I definitely got into this with no money of my own.
None of your own money, right?
100%. Yeah, I got 100% funded, and I'm very excited about this.
Cool. That's a great note to wrap it up on. Again, thank you so much, Munya. Thanks for taking the time. And then hopefully everyone watching this has gotten value out of it too.
Thank you once again for having me, Victor. Thank you for everything that you're doing for us.